are, just in time for the leaf blower to start. We're in Beverly Glen Canyon, technically Bel Air, just off Beverly Glen Boulevard. Mm-hmm. And we're at this cute little 1920s bungalow that has been renovated by the architect Bill Adams, FAIA, I might add, from the 90s. This is classic 1998. Looks like the 90s, but it doesn't really feel dated to me, but it's the sort of Southern California sculpturalism. It's Frank Gehry's house. He cut everything up, exposed all the framing, and created a big open space where everything's exposed. So it's very much of that era.
Mm-hmm. It's really fun too because the last visit that we just had was was it 2019?
Yeah, more
Venice
modern.
Beach, the Pacific House that we're calling it. And so it was newer construction, and then here we are seeing a bungalow, so it's nice to see how playful he is. This actually reminds me of like an architectural student's project who was like, hey, let me just make this move and go from there.
Let's go in and check it out since it's sort of raining. So I think it's really interesting in here. You really feel the big exterior move. It sort of looks like a bungalow on the outside, but then you see this big plane that's like a shard that has fallen from the sky and sliced into the roof and out beyond that wall. And that is a pop-up that provides this clear story window corner condition. There are a couple of operable windows up at the top, the thermal chimney idea, cool it out with natural ventilation, and then you see all this exposed structure, some old, some new, but pretty exciting composition.
Yeah, that's more like the reflected ceiling plan, as we would say. And then the floor plan is actually quite interesting as well, because there's these little remnants of what the floor plan used to look like originally with the original bungalow.
Yeah, he has articulated the former walls and doorways of the 1924 bungalow. It's an interesting time. This was when, modernism had sort of fallen out of favor and postmodernism had really taken off. And this is sort of a classic bungalow, and it's really, he's trying to preserve some of those things while introducing these new, more contemporary elements.
Mm-hmm. And if you look around, I don't know, this, for some reason, this kind of feels like some version of like a night market or something, like where there's these stands and you're being served food or something. But, this little pop-out window is really playful, and then he does that throughout. And then all of the skylights, especially in the bathrooms.
Yeah, it's like, you're right. We're looking at exterior elevations. Like the idea of a Japanese fishing village comes to mind for some reason, that we're in an interior volume, but these feel like exterior walls. And this is almost like a fireplace and chimney from the outside. This is all new, so they removed all of the structural walls in the house, and then they supported the ridgeline with a new beam and these 4x4 posts that come down onto this structure. So this is what's allowing this whole space to be wide open like this. This is new, custom structural steel brackets and Simpson hangers. It's all exposed.
Yeah, in terms of the organization, again, we always talk about the front house here is public space, and then in the back typically is private. And so there's these 2 bedrooms, but they're still kind of open, right? There's a loft-like.
Yeah, these walls don't go to the roof, and so there's really no separation here. There's no wall or ceiling. There is a door into this bedroom, but you're completely open to the main living space. Mm-hmm. And then, so this thing, I wish I knew what the Japanese word is for that kind of a built-in cabinet, but it's a closet that feels like a piece of Japanese furniture. So somebody in the comments, DM us or comment and tell us what this is, the Japanese word for this kind of a built-in cabinet. And then you've got this big linear skylight that runs the length of the building that washes this area with light. It's fun to see the original structure. So these are actual 2-inch by 4-inch pieces of lumber from 1924, old growth. And now our 2x4s are 1.5 by 3.5. So this is when 2x4s were 2 inches by 4 inches.
And some of the details we were looking at, there's these bolts that are in the actual structure. We were trying to figure out what those are. So if somebody wants to chime in and let us know what those are as well, that'd be great.
Then I'm looking into the bathroom and I can see all of this kind of built-in stuff. You know, this is structural steel. This is classic 90s, you know, the way it's countertops floated out from the face of the wall. Again, it's like the sculptural school of architecture. This is beyond function and it's really sculptural, but yet it is a sink. It's a double sink that functions as a sink, but it's these connectors and structural elements are exposed. This is a really nice fastener right there. And then you're looking at all of this framing with these notches connecting the horizontal to the vertical framing element. You got the steel trowel plaster walls, ball and claw tub, which is looking back to 1924, yet contemporary with this glass enclosed shower. So it's that mix of old and new. This is that postmodern language. I mean, nobody wants to use the word postmodern anymore. I mean, in the 90s, we were using the word, you know, deconstructivism. And I don't know, I really like this. To me, it's funny, sometimes I feel like architecture from the 90s can feel really dated, but I feel like this is alive. It's playful. You know, this cabinetry, I think, is probably maple. And these finishes are all just classic 1990s, but there's a timelessness to it that I don't know why I don't feel like it's dated. It just is, it's playful, it's creative, it's referential of historical styles, and yet there is very modern, crisp detailing, and it's kind of all coming together in one cohesive composition. I feel like this is a really cohesive composition.
Yeah, I like this story too, that it was specifically created for Anna Mahler, who was a sculptor, and I guess there's stories of her, like the neighbors stating that she would just be in here sculpting with a cigarette and drinking wine simultaneously. But that's what this space makes you feel like. It feels like this is like a writing space or something creative, really. That's what this space inspires me to feel.
I agree. It does inspire creativity. So to me, this house represents great value. I think it's the best thing on the market at this price point. It's listed at $1,599. It is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, just over 1,600 square feet. And, you know, we're in Bel Air in the Beverly Glen Canyon, but I think it's really good value. It's architecture under $2 million, which is really hard to find.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we wanted to give a big thank you to Veronica and Robert Moore for allowing access today. Is that it?
Yeah.
All right.
High five.